I'm sorry, it's Friday. I have worn through my filter. I just cannot even with this being the government of the United States of America. But let me just give you one more. All right, this is also this week. You may recall that Trump appointed a pro wrestling executive named Linda to be the Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, right? Turned out to be a weird job because both she and Donald Trump say that her job as Secretary of Education is to shut down the Department of Education. Kind of a strange job. Still, though, Linda McMahon, Trump's education secretary, found time in her busy schedule to go to a conference this week, a conference on artificial intelligence and American education. It's a whole conference about AI. Artificial intelligence, AI. That's what we call it, right? AI. AI.
I mean, what did I just watch? We've got the former CEO of World Wrestling Entertainment, the company known for steel chairs, body slams, and soap opera plot lines, now out here trying to weigh in on artificial intelligence in education. And not just that, she literally thinks AI stands for A1, like the steak sauce. Imagine a room full of educators and tech experts, and the keynote speaker is up there sounding like she's about to marinate a brisket. This is who was trusted with shaping America's school system. And her actual mission? Shut the whole thing down. You can't make this up. This isn't governance. This is performance art with a budget and nukes. And the worst part? Nobody even blinked. She said A1 like 3 times, and everyone just sat there like, yes. Very flavorful point, Secretary. We're not in a serious moment. We're in a blooper reel of American history, and somehow these people are still holding power.
The result of the president saying it's either going to be free or fair trade or reciprocal tariffs, they all want to come to the table. They all want a deal, and I'm told that deal number 1 is close to being finished. Is that true?
It is true. We believe that there could be several deals very soon. More than 75 countries have reached out to the administration. More than 15 offers are on the table. And the president's trade team and the president himself are working very hard to negotiate tailor-made trade deals with every country that has reached out. No other president has had the courage to fully use the leverage of the United States of America, not just our economic might, but our military and national security might as well. And, you know, I was asked an interesting question earlier this week by a reporter at Fake News CNN. She said at the premise of her question, you know, Caroline, the whole world is on notice because of what President Trump is doing. And I said to her, that's exactly the point. The world is on notice. The world is finally realizing that under this president, the United States of America is not going to be taken advantage of.
Okay, what did we just witness? Caroline Leavitt straight up delivering a fantasy novel in real time. 75 countries have reached out. 15 trade deals on the table. What table is she talking about? Is it imaginary? Is it IKEA? Because none of this is assembled properly. And then the cherry on top. No other president has used our military and national security might like this. Yeah, that's not economic policy. That's literally extortion. We'll give you trade, or we'll give you tanks. What kind of strategy is that? And let's not gloss over the fake news CNN shout out, because of course, you know it's a Trump adjacent media moment when the conspiracy buzzwords roll out faster than the facts. She's out here acting like the world is begging to do business with us. Meanwhile, the only thing Trump's actually negotiating is his next indictment. This wasn't a policy update. This was a press conference for the alternate reality channel, and it's being hosted by someone who thinks aggressive confidence is a substitute for actual success.
And now the rest of the world is calling our administration. The phones are ringing off the hook because they need the United States of America, not just our economy and our market, but they need us to continue providing peace around this world. And they know that they are indebted to us for the stability that we have provided in their own countries for decades. And the president has made that very clear, that the American people are finally going to have the front seat at the table, and thank God for it.
Oh wow, the phones are ringing off the hook, huh? What is this, a 1997 telethon? According to Caroline Leavitt, every country on Earth is just blowing up the White House switchboard like, hey, America, we desperately need your peace, your stability, your whatever else you've got lying around. Like, what are we even talking about anymore? This is less of a press briefing and more like fan fiction, where Trump is the world's last hope and everyone's just lining up to say thank you. And indebted to us for decades of stability? Ma'am, I don't think bombing half the Middle East and destabilizing multiple governments is what most people would call stability. Also, side note, the American people are finally getting a front seat at the table? That doesn't even make sense. A table doesn't have seats with rows. It's not a movie theater. You're either at the table or you're not. What is this, geopolitical musical chairs? These people keep talking like the world is living in awe of Trump, when in reality, most of it is trying to figure out how we haven't collectively face-planted yet.
Yesterday, Sean, when the president invited the press into the meeting, where he went around the table and instructed each and every one of his cabinet secretaries to provide an honest update about what they are doing at their respective agencies. And every cabinet secretary is a rock star. They are passionate about the issues they are leading on, and they are delivering on exactly what President Trump called upon them to do. There is so much good news flowing out of this administration every day. It's definitely hard for the media to keep up with. They don't know how to cover this administration. They are grasping at straws, and it's easy to talk to the press every day because President Trump is doing exactly what he promised the American people he would do, and there are wins after wins after wins every single week at this White House. And
Yes, the Honest Update meeting, also known as the Great Cabinet Grovel Off. According to Caroline, Trump just casually invited the press in so his cabinet could give super transparent, genuine updates. But if you've actually seen the footage, it wasn't updates, it was a live action praise circle. Mr. President, thank you for being the reason crops grow and bald eagles fly. And the way she says every cabinet secretary is a rock star? Like, are we at a government meeting or the Grammys? Apparently the bar for being a rock star is just existing in a Trump cabinet and not openly sobbing during press conferences. Cool. Also, too much good news to cover? Girl, the only thing flowing is delusion. We're dealing with collapsing markets, scandals with names like Signalgate, and borderline cosplay from senior officials. That's not wins after wins, that's just chaos in a red hat. And the media is not grasping at straws. They're just trying to keep up with an administration that functions like a malfunctioning blender. Loud, messy, and somehow always on fire.
I just cannot even with this being the government of the United States of America. But let me just give you one more. All right, this is also this week. You may recall that Trump appointed a pro wrestling executive named Linda to be the Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, right? Turned out to be a weird job because both she and Donald Trump say that her job as Secretary of Education is to shut down the Department of Education. Kind of a strange job. Still, though, Linda McMahon, Trump's education secretary, found time in her busy schedule to go to a conference this week, a conference on artificial intelligence and American education. It's a whole conference about AI. Artificial intelligence, AI. That's what we call it, right? AI. AI. Unless you're Trump's education secretary. In case that abbreviation, AI, turns out that's a really hard one.
I think it was a letter or a report that I heard this morning. I wish I could remember the source, but that there is a school system that's going to start making sure that first graders or even pre-Ks have A1 teaching, every year starting, that far down in the grades. And that's a wonderful thing.
See the other people on stage with her going, she's the Secretary of Education. She's talking, wait, what are we talking about here?
Or that first graders or even pre-Ks have A1 teaching, every year starting, that far down in the grades. And that's a wonderful thing. Kids are sponges. They just absorb everything. And so it wasn't all that long ago that we're going to have internet in our schools. Whoop. Now, okay, let's see A1 and how can that be helpful?
Now, I myself, I love me some A1. It's tangy. It really brings out the best in a steak or whatever. But A1, I mean, it's not like an education term of art, like K-12 or something, right? Or pre-K. You know what I mean? Like A1 is a whole different thing.
In our schools. Whoop. Now, okay, let's see A1 and how can that be helpful?
How can that be helpful? How can that be helpful? So this is an anagram that you spell out. It's not like NASA, where you don't say NASA, you just like pronounce the anagram as if it's a word. This is the whole anagram spelled out. It's artificial intelligence, A and then I, AI, and she cannot spell that. So now we've got tangy, salty A1 in all the schools. And that will somehow be facilitated by abolishing the U.S. Department of Education, which, you know, it'll be delicious. I mean, I can't. Everything they're doing is so terrible.
And there it is. The Secretary of Education, handpicked by Donald Trump, doesn't know what AI stands for. She's calling it A1, like the steak sauce, at an education and technology conference. She literally stood on stage in front of an audience and said that pre-K kids are going to get A1 learning, like it's some kind of premium barbecue flavored curriculum, and no one corrected her. Everyone just sat there nodding along as if this wasn't completely absurd. This is the same person tasked with dismantling the Department of Education, and somehow this is all going exactly to plan. We're living in a reality where the people in charge of serious national policy can't even handle basic acronyms. And this isn't just funny, it's terrifying. The future of education being discussed by someone who sounds like they're about to place an order at a steakhouse. This is what happens when loyalty matters more than competence, when political theater replaces public service, and when the qualifications for running a federal department are being on good terms with Vince McMahon. We're not watching governance, we're watching a slow motion train wreck narrated by people who have no idea which track they're on.